Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. Make sure that I'm live on all the platforms. Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Welcome to another episode of SOS Live. I'm Jasmine. I'm the founder of Sys to Win, short for Systemize to Win. And today we are, firstly, make sure you stay into the end because I actually have a big announcement. So stay to the end because yeah, I got something big. Okay. So this week, I really want to jump in because if you're like me, I talk to a lot of founders. I talk to a lot of founders, a lot of founders. And what I typically ask is like, what does your business look like in 10 years? And a lot of people will say, I just want to kind of sit back and, relax and be able to let the business run itself. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, me too. So the next thing that I always ask is, all right, so how many hours are you working right now? And it's always like some version of like a giggle, like, like, yeah, a lot. And so, that distance between you and the goal, it can feel a little ways sometimes, right? And like, it's so interesting because when you start a business, you think, okay, well, I just have to grow my business. When I grow my business, then it'll be easier. When I grow my business, then it'll be easier. That's it. That's what's missing. That's all it is. And what ends up happening is like you grow it and then there's like a new set of problems. And yeah, like it can be very, very difficult. But honestly, like you have to reframe your mind. Like that is not failure. Like it's not failure at all. This is just data, right? This is data and this is exposure, and growth tends to shine a light on the cracks that we didn't know were there. And if there is one thing that I see derail founders over and over and over and over and over and over and over, it is client onboarding. And this client onboarding is the most pivotal step to make sure that you have a business that runs itself. And today I am going to break down why. So like I mentioned, like it's very easy to think, yeah, we just need more money, we just need more leads, we just need a bigger pipeline. But I want you to think about like plumbing. If you have a piping system and water is running through it, maybe slowly, right? That's cool. And you may have, low water pressure, but you may be thinking, okay, I need the water pressure to be higher. And so you're like, okay, so I'm just going to turn up the faucet, right? This is what we do in business. We need more, so we turn it up. But if when the faucet was low, there was leaks in it, when you turn that faucet up, those are just going to leak more. And so what this looks like in business is a lot of follow-up emails, a lot of what's going on, a lot of back and forth with the clients. This looks like a lot of delays at different parts of the project. And, I work with service-based businesses. So, when you're a service, you are trying to make sure that you deliver what your client wants. But sometimes there can be, you may be at a point where you're getting delays because you didn't have all of the information that you needed up front. This can happen where I was talking actually with a software engineer client who builds websites, or software engineer founder who builds websites. And yesterday she was telling me that sometimes it gets right to the end and then it'll delay because we don't have the logo. You know what I mean? Or, we don't have, yeah, there's something that's missing that we could have had in the beginning that really, this is something that can just really, really be avoided. Hold on one quick second. I'm having some technical difficulties. Give me a quick second. There we go. Okay, cool. So, right. So, as I was meeting with a founder yesterday who builds websites, we were talking about literally you get to the end and you're like, dang, the client never sent their logo. And so it's like a halt. And then you can't get a hold of the client. And then you promised that you would deliver in 14 days and now it's turning into 28 days because you can't get in with the client and you're not sure who to contact. And are you supposed to contact the founder? Is it supposed to be on Slack? Is it supposed to be via email? Right. Another thing that ends up happening when all of that is happening, so when you're having a whole bunch of back and forth with your clients, when you're having delays that you could have fixed, when projects are like grinding to a halt, your clients are feeling anxious, and sometimes they'll just like, "Well, you know what, it's cool, like it's cool, I'm gonna just find somebody else, don't even worry about it." And that is the cost of clunky onboarding. It's more expensive than you think. It is more expensive than you think. So a lot of people, when I talk to them about client onboarding, they're just like, oh yeah, that's just paperwork, blah blah blah, they just sign up, is cool. They think of it as like the boring admin part before the actual work really starts. But truth be told, onboarding is the real work. This is your first proof of your operational excellence. This is the first proof that you can deliver a quick win to the client. It's how you build trust. It's how you accelerate delivery. It's how you set the stage for repeat business. And we all know that it is easier to sell a client that you already have than it is to get somebody new, right? And so I want you to think about this. I'm going to give you an example. And if you're a founder, I want you to step into the mind of a customer really quick because I want you to imagine this. Okay. So think about the first time you are checking into, sorry, the example that I want to use is checking into a Motel 6 versus a 5-star hotel, right? Remember, even if you're a founder, I want you to step into the mind of a customer right now. Okay. So at Motel 6, you figuring things out yourself. They say nothing about where the ice was. They might tell you where the elevator is. Where's the Wi-Fi? Where's the password? How do you call the front desk? If the phone even works, you know what I mean? It is what it is. Maybe you only have 2 pillows instead of 4. Um, yeah, you're kind of just, you get there and you just kind of like, all right, I guess I just need a place to lay my head. That's it. And that's literally all you get is just a place to lay your head, right? But at a 5-star hotel, they're greeting you by name, baby. You know what I'm saying? They're giving you a key. They're showing you exactly where to go. Do you want a drink? Do you want this? We'll take your bags for you. Honestly, they taking your bags before you even get to the check-in. The bags meet you at the door by the time you get there. The goal is the same, right? The goal is to have somewhere to lay your head. You are staying the night somewhere, but the onboarding experience changes your perception and your willingness to spend again, right? It justifies the cost. It makes you trust where you're at. So tell me, like, are you as a client or a customer, when you're in that mind, are you starting to see the value of client onboarding, right? That client experience is extremely important. Now let's talk about it from a business perspective, because client onboarding is tied directly to your metrics, the ones that you should care about. Okay. So one, I'm going to talk about I'm looking at my notes over here. I'm going to talk about 5 things. Okay. Now, onboarding unlocks predictable revenue. It is very uncomfortable to have your revenue going so up and down that you are not sure what is going to happen next month, right? It's very uncomfortable. When you have smooth onboarding, you actually can speed up your delivery. So when you have a sped up delivery, that's excuse me, when you can speed up your delivery, you are going to have better outcomes. And when you have better outcomes and you have a white glove experience, then you are going to get more referrals. And we like referrals because those are very, very, very low cost to acquire a client, right? We don't have to pay we don't have to pay to get a referral. You know what I mean? We don't have to pay to acquire a client. That's a referral. So we love that. Okay. So client onboarding, you got to think about it like this. when you have those referrals and when your clients are having such a good experience, what it's actually increasing is your LTV, your lifetime value, because clients are going to stick around, they're going to buy more. I have a great time every time I come over here. This is where I'm going to go, right? It's like, have you ever had, maybe a stylist or a barber where you're just like, I love their work no matter what style I'm thinking about it. I know I'm just going to go there because I feel like they can do what I need, right? It's like your first stop because you're having such a good experience. So Motel 6 has a low lifetime value, right? Customers churn all the time, right? Where as a 5-star, you get a lot of repeat, high LTV, high number of stays, a lot of referrals, right? Every time I go, this is where I go. You late, but you here, so hey. Okay, so second thing I want to talk about is I want you to think about, what kind of CEO do you want to be? Do you want to be one that works 24/7? If not, I mean, if you do, that's great. This is not the life for you. But if you want to be a CEO that is able to delegate and still deliver excellence, then client onboarding is what enables your delegation, right? Without workflows, SOPs, like you can with those things, with workflows and SOPs, you can train a VA, you can train somebody very quickly, right? But the information that they are going to use to execute comes from your client onboarding, right? It cuts your time to value for new hires. They can execute way faster because it's very clear, right? Your client onboarding workflow should get all the information that you need, everything that you're going to need from the client, and also everything that you are going to need for your team, right? Without it, you are just stuck with, I'll just do it myself. Because how does it get to the case where you can get somebody to a sales call, you sell them, it's great, and then all of a sudden you can't pass it to anybody else because there's no clear way to transfer information to your team. All of that is part of client onboarding, right? Okay, third thing, onboarding, client onboarding. This is a big one. Client onboarding makes your business sellable. Okay, so when somebody is trying to buy your business, they're looking at your systems. Why? Because if I'm buying something, I need a return now. That means that not only do I need to be able to predict the revenue, right, which we talked about, but also I want to be able to make money for a while. So I don't want it to be that maybe you had a good month last month, but your LTV is not very high. So all of these clients that are here in September won't be here in October. That's not worth it for me to buy, right? So your LTV is what helps raise the value of your business, right? And so when we're talking about raising the LTV, it's not even just that, right? When your business is highly valued, you have access to capital, right? You can have better strategic partners, right? Because I'm the big fish, okay? And better brand perception, all of these things, higher negotiation power, right? We hear all the time, oh, this new business is coming out, they have this much valuation. Okay, right. Those numbers, whether they're true or not, right? Whatever the case may be, you know what it makes people feel and do and how it makes them act. So to be able to say that about your business accurately because you have a high lifetime value, because your client onboarding is so clean. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next, onboarding supports premium pricing. I always tell all of my entrepreneur folks, if you feel like things are not going the way you want, firstly, double your prices. They're like, but. Yeah. If you are delivering a premium service, that price works. Okay. And somebody asked, hey Chris, somebody asked why automations are important in this. And I'm going to talk about that actually right now. So when you talk about having this great experience for your client, right? Because client onboarding is twofold. It's what happens with your client and it's what happens with your team. Okay. So when we talk about client onboarding, your client, if they are paying premium money, they need premium hand holding. Okay. It doesn't matter who it is. If I paid $10,000, I better get greeted at the door. There better be some champagne. Right? That type of experience is what you need to create. So they need to know what's happening next, who to contact, what to refer back to. All of those things can be an automated email sequence, right? All of those things can be automated. Their intake form, which is extremely important. If you don't have an intake form that has more than just, I mean, a couple of questions, child, first off, we really, really, really got to talk, because you're not even qualifying your clients. Your intake form is half a qualifier. Okay. So boom. So you get all the information that you need from your client. But the thing is, your intake form also makes sure that this matches your project management. Okay, so when they fill out this intake form with all the information that you're going to need to complete this project, this should automatically be getting over to your delivery team. Because by the time it gets to, by the time now this is getting to your delivery team, right? You're still working with your client, you're working on your kickoff meetings and all of those things. That's fine and great. The reason you're happy that this takes a little bit of time, because when you finally meet with that client, you're able to give them a quick win in 48 hours. What's the first thing that we can deliver? That's part of your client onboarding, right? And that should be automated, sending it to your team where it needs to go. So connected to your project management system. Okay. So onboarding supports that premium pricing, because it's like, dang, I just gave them this information. They already gave me a little update real quick. Like, I already got something back really quick, right? That supports that premium pricing. And with this, you will likely get a lift in your average order value. Why? Because the first one went well, so yeah, I'm gonna buy again. When clients will happily pay more for the same service if the delivery feels elevated. Right? I have a good experience when I walk into this store, so I'm gonna keep going. Right? I don't have a problem spending money in here, because when I go there, they take care of me. Right? That's the thought process that your clients have, and that's what you want to be able to deliver. Okay. Last thing is, client onboarding prevents a lot of leaks. A lot of leaks, a lot of leaks, a lot of leaks. Okay. So if you are, I work with service-based businesses, I work with a lot of coaches, I work with a lot of tech consultants, especially tech consultants. If you're delivering something that your clients, you know, most people are not technical. Okay. So you're delivering something that is really, sometimes it may be a little bit over our heads, right? And so when you are trying to communicate with the client, they may not always know what you're talking about. So the communication between the two can get really lost, right? You're saying button, I'm saying feature, and apparently those are two different things. I don't know, right? Because I'm not the technical person in the room. You are. But when you have a good client onboarding system, these things don't get lost in translation as much. That's why I love working with tech consultants, because honestly, they're very brilliant. It's just sometimes the communication between them and the customer, it makes things slow down unnecessarily. So, okay, so I'm going to some questions in the comments real quick. Okay, how does this work with a SaaS product and subscription models? So I don't work with SaaS products. However, every place still needs client onboarding. You still need some sort of onboarding something, right? So if you have a SaaS product where it's maybe like a portal, when I hear subscription model, I'm thinking like community, some sort of portal that you have access to. All the things that you are going to need, think about the client's experience in that portal, or using your product, and any information that you would need to personalize that experience, to even adding their name, or directing them in certain like this or that type of ways. Those are things that you can pull in the beginning. Those are things that you can pull in your client onboarding. Okay. Now, if you're a service, the difference is this is tying directly to what you deliver. So all of the things that you need to deliver, if you need the client's logo, you need all of their logins. Oh my gosh, get the logins in the beginning, y'all. If you need their logins, if you need, they may not know how to use 1Password, you have to walk them through that. All of those things. What they think is good. What is their definition of done, to make sure that you're delivering it, right? Making sure that you're understanding how they feel and how things are going with them now, so that at the end you can measure the transformation. All of those things are part of that onboarding, so that when you deliver, you're able to see start to finish what happened. Okay. All right. So we've been talking about client onboarding as the most pivotal piece of having a business that can run itself. And we talked about 5 things business wise. Client onboarding unlocks predictable revenue. Client onboarding enables delegation. Client onboarding makes your business sellable. I'm trying to exit. Okay. Client onboarding supports premium pricing, and client onboarding prevents costly leaks. Okay, this first part of the experience, y'all. You know, if you've ever been on a date, you know, first 5 minutes whether it's gonna go well or not. It rarely goes left at the end. I mean, sometimes it do go left at the end, but it's like that first 5 minutes, you like, this isn't this isn't gonna go well. I already know. Your clients have that same feeling about your business, right? So if your onboarding is messy, here's the thing. If you're a founder, you know, you probably got to where you are going because you're like, you know what? I have a skill and I have the confidence to start and I have the perseverance to keep going. Boom. That's what entrepreneurship is about. You're going, you're just solving, you're just going, right? And so you probably didn't stop to think about operations, and that's normal, but you'll realize that you're going to start hitting a wall and it's going to be hard to get to the next level. And when I say get to the next level, I'm talking about doubling your clients. I'm talking about hiring. I'm talking about delegating. I'm talking about you stepping back and being a CEO instead of working hand in hand with your most junior employee, right? When you want to get to that next level, operations, you're not going to operations is going to be the wall that you keep hitting over and over and over. Client onboarding is one of the simplest places to start. This is why I focus on client onboarding. I do other pieces of operations, but client onboarding, I'm promising you, is where you want to start because fixing it pays dividends in every other part of your business, right? This is where you can get a extremely quick return. This is where we can find money hiding in your business. This is where we can decrease your delivery time. So if you're, if your thing, part of the value of your business is that you can deliver in 2 months, how would it be way more valuable if you can deliver in 2 less weeks, right? What happens if we can cut 2 weeks off of that time? What happens if, you know what I mean, we can deliver a quick win to a client in 48 hours? How does that change the experience in your business, right? How does that make you more money? Okay. And so here's the question. I always leave you all with a question. I really, really, really want you to think about this. I actually want you to type it. If you're watching this live, I want you to type it in the comments. What would change about your business if you had 6 months of operations support? What would change in your business and what would change in your life if you had 6 months of operational support? How much more revenue would you make? Would you get to see your family more often? Would you finally be able to hire somebody and hire them and not be watching them 24/7? Would the people that you hired actually be able to perform well? Because that's the thing. We hire well, but we don't set them up for failure because we don't always give them a system. So the people that you hired, they're probably fine. They're probably fine. They just keep asking you what's next because there's not a system in there yet. How would your business change? How would your life change if you had 6 months of operational support? Because I'm actually raffling off 6 months of free operational support. All you have to do is book a call. That's it. That's your entry. The link is in every single bio that I have. But here's the thing too. If you refer someone and they win, you win too. So you have your one entry with the call. Every referral after that is an entry for you too. They win, you win. 30 minutes, 30-minute call. So if you have been feeling like, you know what, I'm getting the hang of things, right? I'm getting the hang of things, getting the hang of things, getting the hang of things, getting the hang of things. We moving. Why is it getting harder? Hold up. I thought we was getting the hang of things. I thought we was, okay. It's likely because your operations are not keeping up with your growth. And client onboarding is the fastest way for you to start. So that's all I got for this week. Do not forget, you and any service-based business that you know, coaches, tech consultants, let's see, coaches, tech consultants, if you would benefit, really think about how your life would change with 6 months of operational support. How would your business change and how would that change your life? I'm raffling off 6 months of free operational support. 3 winners. Yeah. Remember, if you refer somebody and they win, you win too. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.